So now we're on to part 2 of what is definitely a much longer conversation than you ever would have thought we would have talked about with Xbox. That went on for way longer than we tried to make it. You try to make it as brief as possible, but you can't with some of those things. Like talking about Xbox, the console is just... It's such an important note that we can't just sort of just say, yeah, it got announced, and then just follow it up. But we've done it. We're on to the second part. Potentially a second only part, depending on how quickly we get. It's going to be 3 parts. It's going to be 3 parts. So what happened was that was at Microsoft's conference, and then many hours later, and by many hours I mean 4 hours later, it was then Bethesda. That's it.
Yep. Bethesda's turn to the podium.
Which again was something that we spoke about last week, and where we said that they had a lot of backtracking almost to do.
Things to address.
Yeah, they had some things to address, and thankfully, some of their concerns were, which is always nice to see. So Bethesda, they started off. Obviously, they had their introduction, everything the usual. They showed off all their games, everything that you'd expect Bethesda to do. They normally do a fairly interesting show each year.
Yeah.
And this year was not so much interesting. There was no super high points where you were watching going, that looks amazing. They showed no Elder Scrolls 6, which is a bit of a down point, really, especially considering the year they've had. I think that people needed a bit of an uplift.
It could have been a saving grace, but...
Yeah. I mean, I always felt Starfield was the more likely of the two. Because I don't think Elder Scrolls 6 is until like 2025.
I think they announced it a little bit early last year.
They did it to tide people over.
I'm thinking 2021 Elder Scrolls 6. I reckon next year E3 they'll give its release date in 2021, and then the following year then they'll say.
Then where's Starfield? Starfield is meant to be even bigger than the Elder Scrolls.
They can't even control Fallout 76.
I know, man, I know.
But, which is weirdly our first talking point. So they did. Tom Howard came on stage.
He did.
And what's the first thing that he did?
Apologise.
Which is great. It's good to know that at least he's honest and decent enough to stand up there and say, we
made
up.
some mistakes.
Yeah, that's a more appropriate way to put it. We made some mistakes, and they're trying to address them.
Yeah.
Which is great. So Fallout 76, they had the apology. It's getting some updates so that it'll have NPCs in it. These are all free updates as well, as long as you've got the base game and whatnot. So that's all perfect. This is the thing, is there's not too much really to say on it because you don't know what they're going to produce. But NPCs it's something that works, is good, and it's going to make the game better. But that's regardless of the point, is the fact that they should have been in there in the first place. So you're saying this is a great update, but it's a great update and bringing the game to what it should have been on release.
Yeah, it's almost like still making the game in one way.
And they have brought out as well a Battle Royale mode for it, which is they're just following the trend.
It's something to do in the game.
Yeah. So, realistically, don't get me wrong, it's positive and they're making the game better. So if you already enjoy the game, or you like the game and you want more content, they're going to give it to you now. However, I'm still not exactly happy with Bethesda, because what they're doing is they're saying, we're giving you what you wanted and what you deserved in the first place. That's not. You're not now giving us the year down the line thing that we should be getting now, which is an expansion to these quests, expansion to these NPCs. Yeah. Do you feel me?
Yeah.
Feel me, fam?
They've spent like a whole year, no, wait, it didn't. It wasn't actually a year ago, was it? 76 came out in February.
76 came out in November last year.
Did it?
Yeah, it came out before Christmas.
Yeah,
Luke, you got that relatively close to launch.
Yeah, I've played it for a few hours at the most, and I have absolutely no interest in going back to it.
With knowledge of these updates, will you go back to it?
A Battle Royale, no. That holds no interest in me whatsoever.
Yeah.
The NPCs would make the game a bit more entertaining to do, because at the moment you are just reading constantly from terminal screens.
Yeah.
Which I don't always play video games to read a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So it would at least make it a bit more interesting to play going forward.
Hopefully with these NPCs, with the quests that they give, they're going to be really fun to do with your friends.
Well, it'd be a lot more like the original Fallout, because that's all it was before, is you go and you speak to this person.
To the NPCs.
Yeah, but there was still progression and story-wise and whatnot.
Yeah, exactly.
I get the feeling this is not going to have that.
There was more to the update than just the addition of NPCs.
Yeah.
They added more things for players to be able to do. Like you can sort of manage a shop more, and you kind of act like your own NPCs a bit more, I think.
Yeah, which is fine, and is a great addition. It's for someone that's not a massive fan of Bethesda at the moment, or Bethesda normally anyway. This still isn't enough to make me want to go and pick it up. It's great that they made the apology, and I'm thankful for it. But you have not improved the game enough for someone like me, an outsider, to want to get up and buy it, and that's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is
you
there
even-
anything that could?
There is, if the game had a more thriving community that was happy about the game, then I'm more inclined to get into it. There is games that I've picked up because friends and people that I've known have played them, that I've been like, okay, well, I'll give it a go. I'll see it. It looks quite fun. If you're showing me a game that doesn't look fun, obviously I'm not going to be
too enthused.
They then announced Elder Scrolls Blades, which is for the Switch.
They announced it was coming to the Switch.
Sorry.
It's a mobile game at the moment.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know that it's out yet, actually. It doesn't matter. You swipe, you slash.
And that's
Game's
about
done.
it, really.
There might be more to it, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah,
Sounds like Fruit Ninja, but with...
obviously there's those like proper
Fruit
enemies and
Ninja,
whatnot.
Dragonborn, or
But this is
I don't know Skyrim.
This is their way of basically getting a smaller game under the Elder Scrolls franchise pushed out there to increase sales. Nothing to be particularly jumping up and down. And I don't think anybody else in the audience is. They all cheer and clap, but do they play it themselves? No,
Yeah, just politeness.
Yeah. The
exactly.
biggest thing about the announcement of Elder Scrolls Blades for Switch was that it gave credence to some rumours about more important stuff from other shows.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that in due time.
Yeah. And what else have we got? We then had Ghostwire. Cinematic trailer, though. So no gameplay again, which is a little bit annoying, because we keep saying. However...
More so with this than other ones, no idea what the gameplay is going to be.
No. It's not even like giving you a hint
with
of like
Elden
shooters or
Ring,
anything like that.
You know what the gameplay is going to be. It's going to be FromSoft gameplay.
Yeah, at least they show that there's axes and there's dwarfs and there's
This
people
game
grabbing
could be
arms.
anything.
Yeah, so
like Bethesda have range. This game could cover all of that range.
Yeah, so
but the cinematic was very cool.
Yeah, and it just showed a load of people just disappearing and.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Basically, it's modern Japan, but weird, mystical stuff is happening to it.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
There's nothing else really too much to say about it. Commander Keen.
Yeah. It's not. I mean, it's Commander Keen in name. If anyone does remember the computer games of old, it's not that anymore. It's a swipey. I think you make gadgets and they fight aliens for you in it. It's a mobile game. It's. I mean, I don't know.
It's pretty much pointless. It's a mobile. This is the thing. We're not going to sit here and talk glorious things about a mobile game. It's not really something that.
I mean, if it were a cool mobile game, sure, but it's not.
It's not doing anything to
No.
push the boundaries or anything like that. We then had Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game.
Long ass trailer for this thing.
Long trailer. If you're into your card games and you're into Elder Scrolls, it'll be great for you. I mean, Final Fantasy did it with their cards. They've got Opus now.
Yeah.
Their own trading cards. Very, very strange game. but it's for the fans, if you're a massive Elder Scrolls fan.
It'd be nice to see how this game plays, because I mean, you just saw a guy just with cards in front of him. Like, does it play like Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon? How is it done?
Yeah, a little bit more in depth with it, but that's the sort of thing where like you normally get
That'll be for the show floor, showing like how it works. Unless it's already out. This game might already be out on PC.
Yeah.
Because I believe the trailer was to show that it was on mobile.
Yeah. I'll take your word for it.
I don't know. I mean,
No.
I have even less interest in
We're
Elder Scrolls
not.
than you do.
We're not massive Bethesda fans, in case you hadn't realised. They showed more of Rage 2, which is obviously came out 2 weeks ago now, which we weren't big fans of.
Still not.
Got 7 out
weeks
of
ago.
10s. Oh, 3 weeks ago, I guess now.
We'll get on for about a month or so now, aren't we?
Yeah.
I'd already
We've gone from
forgotten
2
that it
weeks to a
existed.
month.
It's meh again.
It's not standing out incredible sort of thing.
No. It seems like an improvement upon the original Rage.
Yeah. But that's...
I mean, that doesn't
but
seem that
we were
hard.
talking about this and it's sold less than the original Rage. So,
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
75% down on sales of the first one.
Which is concerning, I
That
would
is
say,
concerning.
considering they've made a potentially better game. It's just a bit of a Destiny
Yeah, they
rip-off, really.
reading like the first one to not even give the second one the time of day,
Yeah.
or people just said just not looking for this game at this time.
Yeah. Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Looks cool. Wolfenstein games interest me. But I mean, the idea of a co-op Wolfenstein.
It's good to
Pretty
know
cool.
that, and this is going to sound really bad in a sense, but it's good to know that some games are still willing to put Nazi symbols in them and say, no, this is... Like, it's a
Yeah.
part... Don't get me wrong, it's obviously... this is all fictional in the sense of somebody fighting the Nazis in this way, but when you've got things like Call of Duty, where it won't put Nazi symbols in its games in fear of upsetting some people, which I'm not one to say whether you should or shouldn't be upset about them, but it's good to see that some games are just going, no, this is the style, this is
We
the
have a
design.
moral stance. We think
Yeah.
Nazis are bad.
Yeah.
Kill them in our game.
And it's
Yeah,
technically
and-
historical to a degree. I mean,
Yeah.
Nazis didn't just exist, didn't just stop existing because
Yeah.
they didn't like it.
Yeah.
It's true.
But that's just one of their strong titles, which has got a bright future. The Wolfenstein games always do well.
Yeah.
They always stand out really well.
Yeah, they've been going from strength to strength since the New Order. I think that's what the first like rebooty type one was called.
Yeah, I'd agree. And then we went on to Orion, which is their
Orion.
own cloud gaming.
Yeah,
Bethesda's own cloud gaming.
it's an interesting move.
Everyone's got their own bloody
I
cloud.
was just
these
about
days.
to say the same.
It's
They're
so
all
good.
jumping on the
Yeah.
cloud gaming
We're
bandwagon.
not done for the day with this one.
Oh God! Don't say that.
Hmm?
Don't say that.
I mean, we're literally not. The next press conference had one.
Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that. So
so it was 15. So it was the same price as the Game Pass Ultimate.
Mm.
I have to imagine you're getting less for your money.
I
with
mean,
this.
especially with Game Pass Ultimate and everything that you get with it.
Bethesda's not got over 100 games.
I mean,
If they do, there's not 100 that you want to play.
Yeah, and some of them probably mobile.
especially for us who are not big fans of... Well, I'm really not a big fan of Bethesda. I mean, some of their games, I can appreciate them, and I can appreciate them as to why they're popular, like Skyrim. I can see people's love for them. They just do not fit very well at all into my category of fun.
Yeah.
I loved Oblivion. I loved that game. That was so good. Skyrim was good, but I wasn't as obsessed with it as Oblivion.
See, that's strange, because everyone's just still obsessed with...
Yeah, everyone loves Skyrim. I mean, I'm sure it sold at least 1 million just on Switch, like last year. Like, that game does numbers.
People, exactly. And that they know that as well. And and like last year, they had that quirky little commercial where they're like playing Skyrim on Alexa.
Oh, yeah.
Because they know it does well.
Yeah.
You didn't see anything like that this year. Where they're like,
No, that's true.
like bringing
They didn't
in
have
like some outside actors and just to do a quirky commercial.
They could have had Alexa on stage. Could you imagine?
Yeah.
What, just reveal who Alexa is?
They're just the next.
You could speak to it in Dragonkin. That'd be quite cool.
Alexa using shouts. Yeah, I can see that.
So they've got their own cloud gaming now, where you can get their games $15 a month. It seems a little bit steep and unnecessary. Again, this is aimed at very select people who have strong enough internet.
If you're into Bethesda.
And if you're really into Bethesda.
Which is like, I mean, I think there's a lot of crossover with people that are into Elder Scrolls and people that are into Fallout, that kind of...
Yeah, but if you're into those two, just buy those two games.
Yeah, to buy those games nowadays...
You're right, you can pick them up for $5 from a charity bin.
I'd rather pay £40 every 6 months than...
And have it downloaded or physically.
Constantly, yeah.
Because it's not a download service, right? Like, it's cloud.
Well, they're saying it's cloud gaming, but even if it is download, you still lose it whenever you stop paying your subscription, so then you're out of it.
Yeah.
Bethesda are good, but they don't release these games frequently enough and whatnot. It's another alternate package option, put it that way. If you're somebody that plays games
I'm sure there is
the time,
a reason to do it somewhere in there.
But it's not for the majority of people.
Yeah.
And they finished with Doom Eternal.
Yeah. Good
Looks
thing to
awesome.
finish on. Doom's
another one of their really strong factor games.
I love the look of Doom. I wish I had the time to play it.
I can't remember. They're super fast, fluent,
Yeah.
super gory. What else could you really want from...
It just looks like a fun shooter.
I haven't played Doom since I was on the Windows 98.
How old are you?
I don't even know how old I was at the time. But I enjoyed it then.
Yeah. And again, it's just showcasing more of the game, more of what it's capable of.
It looks like Doom 2016, but bigger, louder, and crazier guns and things.
And different modes as well, didn't they sort of touch on?
Yeah, the multiplayer.
Looks more expansive this time, because I think I hear multiplayer was a little lacking on the last one. So it seems like they've addressed that, and multiplayer will be getting the attention it deserves. I don't know.
I mean, one of those terms of phrase fits it perfectly.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between. It
If
just
I were
needs a
play
little
Doom,
bit
I'd
more.
just play the campaign. But...
Yeah, I think that's my sort of style as well. I'm not quick enough to be playing that game online, because I bet you there is somebody out there that will have like their arms modded to their controller and can spin around and shoot you from like
super glued the thumbs to the sticks,
like a pixel of viewpoint available and pop you in the head.
Yeah, someone can do it.
And that was mainly it for Bethesda.
Yeah.
So that was a nice and quick one. Flew through that one.
Yeah.
The only other thing that they really showcased was a cinematic trailer for Elder Scrolls Online. What's it called?
There was two. Is it Scalebreaker and Dragonhold?
Yep. I'll take your word for that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Looked interesting from what we saw, but obviously...
Cinematic trailer of dragons fighting people, them using magic.
The cinematic trailers of these games are never...
No,
it's
not even slightly representative.
So, yeah, it's like when you watch the World of Warcraft trailers for those games.
I know,
when they look
so
incredible, and then it's like cuts to in-game footage of a guy like standing with like a circle of light around him while he mixes a potion.
Yeah, so it's almost misleading, but it's nice just to have a look at. It probably would make a better film than a game half the time.
Yeah. I mean, it represents things that are in it, I'm sure. Like the guy turning into a skeleton knight.
Yeah,
and that dragon is probably in it.
Yeah, it's obviously touched on aspects. It just doesn't quite look like what we're seeing. But then that goes on most games these days, doesn't it?
So I could be wrong on this. There was a game announced called Deathloop. I thought it was a Bethesda game.
I can look it up.
I think it featured here. But
Definitely,
we didn't see
Bethesda at E3.
There we go. So Deathloop looked pretty cool. Again, a cinematic trailer. Hard to say what the deal was.
Yeah.
But a sort of melee shooter, or mostly shooter, but with melee combat, with seemingly two protagonists both trying to kill each other, but both of whom just keep coming back when they do. Not entirely sure what the deal is, but the trailer looked cool.
If that's all you got from it, then sounds like Bethesda.
Maybe the trailer should have done a bit more.
Maybe it should have done a bit more.
I think it was intentionally confusing.
Yeah, and that's fine. Keep your games do
Yeah.
well to keep mystery. If you want to create a mystery, though, you have to make it a bigger, fancier trailer.
Exactly.
You can't just
I
show
mean,
a
who
mini
cares about
trailer.
Death Stranding anymore, right? No one cares.
Is
We know what's going on now. We don't care.
No, I was gonna say that game will come out, and I could play it for 1,000 hours, and I wouldn't know what's going on. I reckon.
Nobody knows.
Probably because you'll only have locked 4 of the 8 endings.
Is there 8 endings? Is
I
it?
don't know.
Oh Jesus, you're
I'm sure
building
there's.
me up for that then.
There was a lot of like finish the game in specific ways stuff for the Metal Gear games, and I think there may have been cutscenes attached to some of them. So I think you'll have to do some funky stuff to get the full story.
No, I was going to say, I've read the story for Metal Gear, and I still don't understand it.
I like games with multiple endings. When it's like 8 different endings, and do I have to play it through 8
like-
different times to do so to find each one?
It's
Yeah.
like
I ain't doing that in a long game.
Near Automata, or Near Automata, I believe it's actually pronounced, is that's got 26 different endings, but only 5 of which are important.
Like full playthroughs.
And out of those 5 is you're not having to constantly replay the game. It's actually just sort of like a continuation, or then you play the game with a different character, and then it becomes something different, and then it evolves into something else, and that's where the multiple endings is. It's not so much multiple, just making a couple of different choices.
Yeah.
Sekiro and From Software games, they have multiple endings, but they only have 3 or 4, but they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
You
have
never
to
know
go
which one
through-
you're on.
You
That's
never
the
know which
trouble.
one you're on, and then you have to go back through the whole entire game and flip and learn
And you
everything
just like
else.
don't speak to one person once, and you fucked the whole storyline.
The game, just break your disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I killed Celeste 7 times by accident in that fucking game.
The real lesson there is to play Shadow the Hedgehog, kids.
Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh god.
Viva Pinata.
Maybe
Viva Pinata has multiple endings.
No, and that's the thing. There's no endings. It's just that's
Oh,
it.
there's just no end.
That's it.
There's no end. Fair enough.
It's your garden. Your garden.
It's so linear.
On the Monday, they had Ubisoft or Ubisoft.
Sorry, before Ubisoft. Where was Viva Pinata at Xbox's conference?
Rare don't
What
do
are Rare
anything.
doing?
Well,
Sea of
there
Thieves
was
isn't
no-
getting
I
that
was
much
gonna
stuff.
say, Sea of Thieves.
Where was Sea of Thieves?
Sea
Sorry,
of Thieves does have its
this is all
own
coming
sort
to
of.
me late.
Sea of Thieves does have its own sort of like little conferences that it does during the year whenever
That's
they
had
have
some
big
recent
updates.
updates, isn't
Okay.
it? So
But realistically, Sea of Thieves is dead to me anyway. So, and if it's dead to me, then nobody else cares. So moving on. On the Monday, we actually had Ubisoft or however you want to pronounce it, because I'm not French and I'm not very good at doing a French impression. I'm not even going to try it. Ubisoft.
that's Japanese.
No. You bring dishonor. They started off with a musical. Okay, not a musical. That sounds like something
symphony.
from a symphony.
Oh,
sounds like
yes.
something from Disney, doesn't it?
Yeah. The Assassin's Creed Symphony.
The Assassin's Creed Symphony, which is really nice. It sounds lovely. I enjoy like a little bit of classical music. I enjoy a little bit of orchestral or symphony, whichever way you want to put it and whatnot. They announced a load of tour dates and where they're playing and whatnot, which is fine. If you're a massive Assassin's Creed fan, this will appeal to you.
I'm sure there's plenty of people
I'm sure
who
there's
are.
plenty of people that are. The only thing that I'm not a big fan of in this sense with this is that there wasn't the music that they do and the music that Assassin's Creed has is not quite, I'm going to say iconic and it doesn't stand out enough. So Square Enix, again, I'm going back to Final Fantasy, and we'll tell you what, we'll go to Kingdom Hearts this time. Kingdom Hearts, the intro music to that,
Yeah, Dearly Beloved.
or the main melody, what was it called? Simple but Clean.
Yeah, and Sanctuary.
Sanctuary. Jesus, there we go. So we just list off 3 there.
Yeah.
They're very, very iconic songs. So if you've played Kingdom Hearts before, you will know those songs off by heart. Well, not off by heart necessarily to be able to play them, but I mean, like,
They're
you
iconic
know that
enough that they're a trigger.
if you ever hear those songs, you will immediately be like, oh, that's Kingdom Hearts. It's Kingdom Hearts. I didn't get that with Assassin's Creed at first. I didn't get it the whole way
at
through. which is not necessarily a bad thing. I'm not saying that the music is bad, but it's not stand out and it's not iconic enough, which doesn't give you the heebie-jeebies or the nostalgia or the thrills or the fizz, I'm going to call it, where it makes you feel warm and fuzzy and goes, yeah, that's my game. That's my game. And that's why Square Enix and Kingdom Hearts and Dragon Quest potentially, that's why they've been doing these concerts for so long, because their music is so unique. In Japan, they just do it. Music wise, Japan just does amazing. And RPGs, they do amazing as well.
I mean, almost any Nintendo game has a pretty iconic score. Yeah. Usually.
It's Mario. Everybody knew that. If you're
Mario
listening.
3 World.
Yeah, I think you're right. Actually.
I forget which one of the two.
All I can hear in my brain right now is the noise Yoshi makes when he picks his tongue out.
Oh, well then it must be World. Mystery solved.
So yeah, it's great if you do like your Assassin's Creed and you do like your music from the Assassin's Creed games, and this will obviously be for you and is more aimed so at you. I think it's a nice touch, a great way to introduce yourselves. This is Ubisoft put on more of a show than a lot of the other companies did, which is great.
Always do.
And it's a nice fun spin on it. They're celebrating their games, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to start it, especially since Assassin's Creed wasn't there this year, which again...
Get it there in some capacity, right?
Again, is a good step. I mean, people aren't as hypey about it, like, taking a year off this time, because I feel as though they're sort of... The Assassin's Creed are still losing momentum a lot, and every single year it's not quite doing... Not necessarily that the games are worse, but they're not doing as well as they used to in sales.
I was under the impression that Origins and Odyssey were actually a big pickup.
The pickup in gameplay wise.
Oh yeah, that's a fair statement. I don't know the sales figures on this.
I feel like they've just pushed it too far, and people.
I mean, I agree. I much prefer Assassin's Creed 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would
the way
agree.
it's gone now.
From Revelations, it's really started to drop down hard for me. Even Revelations was a bit of a grind to get through.
Yeah, I didn't finish Revelations.
No, definitely started to lose interest there. And some of the games they came out, they were good, but I didn't feel like they were Assassin's Creed games. I felt I was playing something else. And it's...
Ubisoft caught onto a gold mine there with Assassin's Creed, and then mined it until they could mine it no more. Yeah. They've got the third and final one of this new trilogy coming out, I'm guessing next year now.
Have they said it's a trilogy?
Yeah, they said ages ago it was a trilogy.
Oh. I thought it was just carrying on indefinitely.
No. I mean, I believe there might be like a start to a new trilogy afterwards or something.
Okay.
But everything that I've heard and I've seen people talk about and whatnot is it was all planned for a trilogy.
The trilogy of Origins, Odyssey, and...
I think the last one's meant to be like Omega or something like that. It's got an Omega symbol.
Oh, interesting. I heard it was like Ragnarok. Like it was going to be a Norse Assassin's Creed. But we don't know and we won't find out until next year.
I can't remember. It's been a while since I looked into it.
Mm.
And to be honest, because it wasn't at E3, I didn't feel as though it was necessary to look it back up.
The last game was Greek.
It was Rome, wasn't it? Yeah. So they weren't sure we get by going back to that again, surely.
Maybe that was what I was thinking of. I was thinking of last year's one.
Odyssey.
Which did quite well, but had viable 10 XP extra bonus, which is just ludicrously stupid.
The story games, I don't understand why XP things like that are boosters.
Oh yeah, here you go. Why don't you get through our game faster so you enjoy it less?
Jeez. As they get through it fast before they realise they hate it.
I believe, yeah. We'll move on. Assassin's Creed isn't in here.
It wasn't even there.
Yeah. Right. Watch Dogs 3 Legion, or Watch Dogs Legion, was shown.
Yep. We're British.
We're British.
We like this.
We love the show.
The guy on stage made a Brexit joke, which nobody laughed at. We didn't
Brexit
laugh.
is only funny if you're British, people.
We don't even find it funny.
Yeah.
It's set in Britain, set in London. Can play as anybody, as the creators have said.
Apparently.
That's going to be a lie. You will not be able to play as anybody. There will be
certain restrictions.
Yeah, obviously, otherwise the game would just be coded to.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is anybody, but they have, say, 20 personalities or characters, and they just get assigned as you pick.
Yeah, I mean,
people.
that's fine, but then you're not playing as anybody.
I know.
Do you know what I'm saying?
We'll find out later. I mean, I think
Yeah.
the game comes out reasonably. Oh, no, actually, maybe that's a 2020.
Yeah, I think that did actually.
Yeah. But it looks cool.
I love the granny.
Because but so they showed like lots of different characters and that you can play as and lots of different styles. So, for example, you play at the very start. You play as sort of like more of a warrior type sort of person, somebody that potentially deals with guns and whatnot. And then it shows an elderly lady who is more of a tech worker, controls little robots. She's not a very good fighter. She has to take down enemies. She has to kick them in the shins and then zap them in the neck with a taser.
And falls over herself.
Which is quite comical to watch and play as. They did try and force the humour a little bit too much. It's just sort of like they've added her as a humorous character rather than the fact of adding her as a character, and she happens to be humorous to be playing as.
Yeah, they were sort of cashing on that cliche gimmick.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Oh, here we go. An old lady taking on some hostile forces.
I think that would just be for the trailer, though. I think she'll just be treated as a character.
I'm sure
in the
she
game.
will, but it's one of those things that makes it stand out a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they've got, well, from what they're showing is that everybody's different and whatnot. It will offer so many different styles of gameplay for people, which is cool.
That is true.
Yeah, certainly. I think you can make this game do what you want. If you want a group of
just all brawlers,
gangsters,
everyone fights
if you could get to the end of the game playing your own specific way, that would be cool.
Yeah.
But it won't happen. It'll be you need a hacker for this, and then you need to go and recruit somebody that's good enough at hacking.
I'd imagine everyone's hacking in that game.
And then obviously if you die in this,
That's
it's
true.
a permanent death. So
Yeah.
what happens if you get all of your people killed? Is that then game over? And if that is then game over, do you then have to load a save miles back when you had all of your team?
I did not think of that.
They might have like emergency one on backup that you access when you die.
You might have a main character or
And
like
then,
a main couple
obviously,
of characters.
The other issue that comes with this is if you build up all of these characters and you're constantly recruiting new characters, you're not going to bond as much with them if there's so many characters involved. And this is where it starts to become convoluted and confusing.
Especially in this type of game.
It's
like
already
this
a
is the
struggle.
same mechanic that they have in Fire Emblem games, but in Fire Emblem games you are using like 20 characters like all the time. This you are playing as one character one at a time and could, in theory, play as that one character for the entire game.
Your only interaction seems to be over like a headset. You don't actually seem to see any of the other players or the people that you've recruited really.
Also true.
Potentially sort of actually in actual gameplay and in cutscenes.
They did show some of the gameplay footage, which is decent. At least there's someone showing something.
The combat looked fun.
The combat looked quite good. Really,
Driving looked good actually.
really easily interactable.
Yeah.
So it's like she controls the car and gets the car to drive forwards. By the looks of it, it was just look at it, press one button, and it does what you need it to do. Interactive environment is great when it's executed well. By the looks of it, they're executing it well. In this scenario that they've shown us, whether that's the case for the whole game, you don't know.
Yeah.
Would you say that's fair?
Positive impressions.
Positive impressions. I think that's going to be good. It also does mean that because you're able to play your own style, is you might make the game more fast paced or slower paced. If you're somebody that likes to
That's
be
true.
more tactical about all of these things, then when you're taking out a base, rather than having the big strong grunt up front that will shoot everybody, you could choose the sneaky, skinny
hack your way
person,
in and
hack your way. If they give those sorts of options, I'm worried that they won't.
I feel like there's going to be a case of there will be certain characters needed for certain events, certain skills required for certain things. Otherwise, it would be a case of, say you had like a bruiser squad, you could just mow everything down and potentially not experience half of the game.
Yeah.
If the game is very sort of techie driven and you've got like a team of brutes, you won't be needing to potentially hack things. So.
This leads on to just my final point on this, is this could potentially get too overwhelming. And this is obviously, it's down to personal preference on what makes a game for you. But for a lot of people, and for me especially, is what I like from my games is simplicity that's then expanded upon to create an in-depth, simplistic system that works well. They've got so much...
Easy to learn, hard to master.
Yeah, so they've got so much available from the get-go, which is really cool, and it can work really well. But if it starts getting way too complicated, so like, oh no, you need to be using this specific person, and they've got to have this specific skill, and you have to level up this specific person with this specific skill to get into this one place, and then do you see it can start getting so confusing. And again, this is where like something like permadeath can actually be a really bad thing. Like, it's a really cool additive and something that makes you a little bit more careful about who you pick and whatnot, but does that mean you're then going to be spending half the game recruiting grunts that you know you can get killed so that you can save your best person for the big mission down the line?
You just know there's going to be like one sort of class is really hard to get, and they're always going to get like munched in the first 5 minutes of any mission.
Yeah. And then that's another point, is if you then spend the best part of half an hour finding a specific type of person that you need to recruit to do a specific mission, and then on the way to the mission, they get killed and you have to go back and get another one, I would switch that console off then and there, take the disc out and post it to somebody random in the neighbourhood, because
But what
that
if
would
you
annoy
could
me.
save scam it?
I don't believe that if you can save scam it, I'm guessing you mean as in like upload your save.
Well, no, someone dies, you just quit or reset the console or whatever and go back to before they died, and then you can just try again.
Then I might as well not bother picking up the game, because I'm not then playing the game. That if you
unless permadeath is optional.
I like, they're saying permadeath as if like it's like the whole way out. I mean, they did show that you could get busted rather than get permadeath, which is fair enough, and you could choose to like put somebody in there. Maybe they should have just put hospitalised instead rather than permadeath. It depends how influential it will be to the game's playing mechanics.
Yeah. Plus and
then you have to bail them out or break them out of hospital, and anybody could do it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Or you have to save them. They just all pay for all of their treatment. Do you see what I mean?
Well,
it
not
depends.
here. We've got an NHS.
Oh. Damn.
You have to wait like 1 hour in real life time for them to be back in field.
Yeah, or you could
buy
pay,
microtransactions.
or you could buy a microtransaction. I knew that was coming. So, Legions looking great.
Yeah. Yeah,
We just need a little bit more about sort of how the game will run in this aspect.
We just need to see the inner workings.
Yeah.
I'm imagining the progression will help it a lot.
With something where you announce it like this, where it's so big and it's so complicated and so convoluted, then we need more information to be able to know what we're buying into.
Yeah. They did show a decent amount.
Yeah.
For a stage presentation.
Exactly. Right? First start and for the first reveal, that's amazing. Show us your game. Halo 6 hasn't shown any gameplay yet, and that's blown 2 years on the trot.
I feel like I know enough of this game to want to buy it.
Yeah.
I just want to know what I'm going to be getting into when I get it, so I know if I'm going to enjoy it enough to play the full thing.
Exactly. Next on the agenda was Mythic Quest. So it's a show about directors struggling creating games. So this is made for Apple TV Plus, and is a TV series.
About
comical comedy about game developing. It's gonna be someone's taste. Looks relatively fun.
I mean, the guy is from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to say it's that kind of. I mean, there's also the guy from Community.
Yeah.
I feel those two shows have a similar sense of humour. So I would imagine that this show is probably along those lines. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think it's got the creative win that Dan Horman has got. But this is... From what they're showing so far is it doesn't take my fancy. It's got a very strange style of humour. And it's weird because that's normally something that I might appreciate. It is a show about video games though, and video game creators. But you do have to remember that it is comedy. And it doesn't look like it's just sort of comedy about what they do in their workplace.
No.
It is a show based around comedy where what will be happening will be based upon the comedy that is shown, rather than
based on
based
making a
on
game or whatever.
making a game, and then these comical things can happen.
Yeah.
Could be a bit cringy.
Yeah, I think that's always a risk with some
it
of
could
these
go
things.
a bit Big Bang Theories,
Yeah,
nerd treatment kind of.
exactly.
Well, anyway, not a game. We'll move on.
Not okay. Rainbow Six Siege had a new comical introduction to their new character. Music from
The Kingsman.
Kingsman. Character just
James Bond looking character. Or
Clutch.
Kingsman looking character, I guess.
It was a Clutch Royale. One guy, the new operative, taking on and defeating all 6 other operatives. Just a lovely bit of fun, and that was good sort of humour where they created a scenario, let it play out, and then you can find it funny if you like, and
nice bit of
it
fun.
was alright.
Rainbow Six Siege has been a well supported game.
Yeah, it's doing really,
Only ever
really
hear
well.
good things about it.
So, and it's nothing but positive steps for them.
Yeah.
Adventure Time comes to Brawlhalla.
It's nice. I don't.
Off-brand
Brawlhalla,
smash, isn't
you
it?
played Brawlhalla?
Not once.
Not once.
Yeah. I mean, if Brawlout is budget smash, Brawlhalla is bargain bin
Okay.
smash.
Well, unfortunately, Adventure
no, they're
Time...
probably the same level of bargain.
Adventure Time may be coming to Brawlhalla, and it doesn't just show Finn and Jake. It does show that Lady Rainicorn, Princess Bubblegum, they are sort of in there and involved, only minutely. However, no LSP. So if no LSP is there, not worth your time. Just avoid it. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, new cinematic trailer. Again, it looks quite cool. Got the guy from The Punisher in it.
Yeah,
What's it called?
Jonathan Bernthal.
There we go.
Or John.
They decided to do another cinematic trailer, and this one is him talking to a bunch of troops about them going around killing people. There you go. That's it. That's that one done. Because
that was the whole trailer.
That was the whole.
And he was so
trailer.
emotionless in this as well.
Yeah, it was just a very serious talk. But then he came on stage with a dog.
Yeah, I believe they then had another cinematic trailer after that, which just showed lots of guns and shooting, which is exactly what you'd expect.
Yeah.
You
know what you're getting into.
Yeah, if you like these sorts of games, this is the game for you. If you're listening to us now and you just think, what the hell are they talking about? Then chances are you're not going to want to pick this up because there's nothing that's going to sit there and spike your interest majorly.
We can't describe it well to you because we do not know or
How?
care.
I think I don't think many. It's got a select player base that love their tactical shooters. Tom Clancy are well known for it.
Yeah.
Stick to them if you do like them, or if you want a tactical shooter, you'd have a good bet going with them. Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, though, that is not a tactical shooter.
That is not okay.
That is not okay. It's a mobile game. I think I think you don't really need to fill it in with much more. It's all the characters.
Tom Clancy gotcha shooter game.
Yeah.
But Tom Clancy games barely have characters.
Yeah. So
Sam Fisher is the only character you could name from a Tom Clancy game.
Agreed. Can I talk now?
Yes.
Yeah. It doesn't look great. Just Dance 2020.
Hells yeah, son.
Great little show that they put on, load of dancing and
Make use of
whatnot.
that stage.
This is what we were saying before. Ubisoft actually did put some effort in. Actually tried to do a little bit of a show as well, and in this case, it worked for the first 3 minutes. The 3 out of 3 songs. 2 out of 3 songs worked really well. They had a great dance routine, and then they had some techno music come on, which I'm not against techno music, but they could have chosen a better techno song.
This was Barnyard Animals to an annoying beeping noise, and it was not good.
That's coming out this November as well.
And to the Wii.
And to the Wii, the age-old Wii.
Yeah.
Is it coming to the Wii U?
No.
Oh god, that's a major kick in the teeth, isn't it? How badly did that console sell? 13 million badly, apparently.
Yeah.
I'll get it on Switch.
Why not get it on Wii? Sorry.
I don't Switch.
I don't own a Wii.
For Honor's getting an update. Shadows of Hitokiri. Is that pronounced
Hitokiri.
correctly? Cinematic trailer with few little elements of
maybe semi-gameplay.
gameplay. Doesn't show you sort of them actually with a heads-up display and them fighting like that, but a couple of little in-game graphic pieces.
Yeah.
Japan.
Cool. Yeah.
It's got
If you
new
play For
characters,
Honor-
no doubt.
Cool.
And we were discussing this, and we reckon, or Elliot reckons, it's
I
gonna
think
be
it's a co-op mission rather than a level or a...
I mean, it'll be a new map as well, no doubt.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will get turned into a map.
Mm.
But I think what they're showing right now is you team up with two mates and you try and kill this crazy ghost lady.
Yeah.
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 None of us play For Honor. We can't say much more than that.
I mean, it's. I'm glad they're still supporting it.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah,
two
they've
and a
been
bit
going-
years now. Or is it 3 years? No way, is it 3 years?
Christ, I hope not.
You could have
Emergency
Garbage.
Googling.
Yeah.
Emergency.
Sorry.
Emergency Googling. 2 years. Whew. It's been 2 years and 3 months since that came out. 4
Damn.
months, really.
Still goes. I mean, Ubisoft know how to support their games.
Yeah, their games as a service are doing relatively well. So, I mean, you can't really complain them for it. So, For Honor, if you're a big fan, you've got some DLC coming your way. Rainbow Six Quarantine.
Just got a cinematic. for
Just a
this one, I believe.
cinematic. So, guns again, of course.
Infection.
And infection, something's growing up his arm.
It doesn't look like
Some sort-
zombies, thankfully.
Doesn't look like zombies, but big, dark, nasty-ass creature in the background that's flinging shit
Yes.
everywhere.
Mm.
And then somebody comes and helps up the person that's got the infection when the infection somewhat subsides.
He has something on his wrist that sort of either injects at a timely basis or
Yeah,
something.
it's like his
that,
antidote.
Yeah.
He'll break it or lose it, and then
Yeah.
he'll be turning into one of the big monsters.
that would be the mission.
Very strange for Rainbow Six.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
normally
definitely
they
strange
normally
for
go
us.
for very realistic
human on
shooters,
human sort of killing, not human on monster.
don't
Yeah. But they had a survival mode in the last sort of core Rainbow Six, I believe. So I think it'll be like that, but lean a bit more towards the
Yeah,
zombie kind of end.
fair enough.
But
But
we'll see.
Again, not too much of it shown, no gameplay or anything like that, so there's not really too much to say. Division 2.
Yep, they showed that game.
Mm-hmm.
Expansions for apparently game-changing mechanics.
Yep, so they're releasing content update in July. Episode 2 is also going to be in the Pentagon and is going to have another raid added to the game,
Cool.
which is up to then 8 players, which is, again, I guess that's quite funky and cool if you
I'm
like
not
this
seeing
game.
how it's game-changing more than just more game stuff.
And then you have actually got episode 3 coming out in early 2020. And finally, probably on the more bigger news with this, it depends on whether you're a big fan of it. If you're a fan of movies and stuff like that, though, is it is getting a movie.
Oh,
I'm not
yes, I did hear
sure-
about that.
I'm not sure why.
There is a story to how the Division formed and things.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll have Jake Gyllenhaal and I think it's Jessica Chastain in it. And we'll be on Netflix. So we
Yeah.
can all actually watch it and give our thoughts.
Yeah, we can all watch it under
Will it
one
be on
account.
UK Netflix or only American Netflix?
Oh,
Oh,
Christ.
God, don't even go
There
down
you
that
go.
route. This is... I'm not a big fan of video game movies because most of the time it does seem like a bit of a cash grab. It's like, oh yeah, we'll just put it under the name of the Division. Like, you could have had
And then it could just
this
be
sort
any
of story.
war film.
I mean, we were talking about this with Just Cause. The Just Cause movie, like, there isn't too
What?
much of a story. Just Cause is getting a movie.
I did not know that.
Well,
Apologies.
you should be listening to our podcast. There's a Just Cause movie coming out,
Okay.
or not coming out anytime soon. It's being created, sorry, and it's just sort of like it gets to the point. Why aren't you just creating a new name for this rather than following Just Cause? And the whole reason that they're doing that is obviously for
Just Cause is a name people recognise.
The name sells there.
exactly,
graphic
and
content.
that doesn't.
As long as it actually relates to Just Cause, I'm okay with it. Like if it's actually, set in South America and is about, overthrowing a
Militia
dictator
and
and
stuff
stuff.
like that.
And you have a grappling hook.
I'm open to see it. I mean,
Yeah,
Division having a movie.
maybe.
I'll give it a chance.
I'd rather see
Detective
Just Cause than-
Pikachu has given us hope.
Detective Pikachu has given us hope, but how many years has Pokemon been around before that happened? How many Tomb
Some
Raider
of the animated
films have there
movies are
been?
good.
Yeah, the animated. God damn. Uplay Plus.
Oh.
All the
See,
the
there we
games
go.
of
This is the
Ubisoft,
other
yeah.
streaming service, or whatever it's called.
All the games Ubisoft make or have made, because it does have the past as well.
Yeah.
$14.99 a month again.
They like this figure.
Yeah,
And
I
you
mean,
can play with Stadia.
and you can play it with Stadia, which is just another bill on top of bills.
Yeah.
Yeah, money for money.
Subscribing to something so you can subscribe to something.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't listen to our other podcast either, did you? Because Stadia, you don't actually have to have a subscription to play Stadia. See, this is where you are behind, boy.
I missed all of the Stadia news.
It is coming to Stadia 2020, as they now have a partnership with them. Stadia are making the moves that they should be making.
Yeah.
Don't think it's strong enough, but and also $15 again. It's just too much. It is just too much. Why they need to be sticking at $9.99 or $4.99
For a specific...
If they said
brand.
like every game over a year old, $4.99 a month, it would sell by the cake loads. $4.99 a month is like nothing, and then
tier basis, couldn't they?
yeah, and then essentially you're then getting people to play your old games. The brand new ones and whatnot. Like I can see why people want to play the brand new ones and whatnot, but at $15, the big ones that we've had, like the Division, you just buy it. Nowadays you could probably pick that up for about £30, £25. So rather than spend 2 months,
it would have been 60.
New, yeah.
So that's 4 months. Plus, I don't know if the others do, but the Uplay service includes all the DLC for all the games. So I don't know if there's a season pass.
If you want to look at this in a money saving sort of way for yourself, then why are Ubisoft encouraging it?
Because they want to get you into the ecosystem.
That's just...
How many people do you know that got an iPhone and never left iPhone? That is why they are trying to get people in.
Well, if we didn't offer it out on a monthly basis.
I mean, I don't want to start talking phones, but I can happily leave an iPhone. Nothing in my house will stop me from not having an iPhone. If I didn't have an iPhone, I wouldn't be in a system where I'm... We're not going to talk about this. Roller Champions then got shown. Cinematic trailer first of all. Showed basketball on roller skates. Looking
It's actually
pretty...
roller derby.
Roller derby, there we go. Elliot will know this a lot better than me. Skill-based team building game. Available as of, well, what's for us now, 2 days ago. And it's on PC.
Oh, is it only available on PC?
At the moment, it is coming to more.
Ah, okay.
Any more opinions
that's
or
cool.
views on this? They did show some
It's the sport
gameplay.
of roller derby, but with a ball as well.
It was nice to see them going for making a game that's a non-conventional sport like football and basketball and all of that. Everything that EA already bloody does anyway.
If they had a Elite Battle Angel mode, or at least like a...
That
would be a lot more
Have you seen
interesting.
Elite Battle Angel now?
I have not,
Then
but I'm
stop
aware that
having
there is
opinions.
Because they do play that game in that film, so if they had done like a
crossover.
just a stadium view that looked like that, I reckon that would have...
A little bit more guts and glory and fighting.
Yeah.
I think James Cameron seems like the sort of person that would probably sue them for it.
Well, if they'd obviously worked with them and done it officially, it could have been good.
No, he would never agree to it.
Money makes the money.
He was involved in the Avatar game.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And
So
how
I
well
think
did that do?
That was gash.
No, that...
I believe he's also involved in they're doing like I think it's like a Warcraft MMO.
I thought you were about to say that. I believe he's involved in Final Fantasy VII. That's gash. Ubisoft finished on Gods and Monsters.
Oh yeah, I watched that little trailer. I mean, it doesn't...
It looked like a mobile game at first. Like how they advertise mobile games these days that then turn into like a little...
I get what you mean. I thought it was advertising a mobile game.
Like you see like Clash of Clans nowadays, it's like a fully animated scene and then it's just like 2D castles, just like...
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't shown any gameplay, so there's still potential for it.
I hope
No.
not, because that would literally ruin.
No, I thought it looked relatively quite nice.
Yeah.
Very.
It's made by the team that made Assassin's Creed, either Origins or Odyssey or both.
And it's got potential.
Yeah.
I guess.
So I think it will be like a big.
There'll be a pay-to-win system.
Christ.
There will be 10% extra XP.
Of course there will be. There's you play as a god. You could just play as the god of money and pay to win.
Yeah, fine.
Pay to win.
It gave me a little bit of Zelda vibes when it first showed
Yeah,
it, and
I
I
see
was
that.
a little bit sort of what on earth, sort of thing.
I mean, I'm not huge on the art style, if I'm honest. It's a bit too...
Too far cartoony, big bug
Yeah.
eyes, sort of thing.
Yeah, like I like cartoony, but it's a bit too much like just generic cartoon looking.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, we haven't seen what it plays like, so it could be cool.
Yeah. And that was literally it from Ubisoft. So,
Yeah,
no Beyond Good and Evil, and no Assassin's Creed.
no, and no Rayman.
No Rayman, which is a bit of a
We're
shame.
overdue Rayman.
Yeah, well, what way would you want them to go with it?
I would happily take just another 2D Rayman like Origins and Legends.
Roman Legends was classic. I
Yeah.
love that.
I loved Origins.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anything else that
We
you
demand
wanted
it.
to hear or wanted to see, or
Yeah, I wanted to see Prince of Persia come back. Didn't happen.
what kind of Prince of Persia there? Like Sands of Time and Two Towers sort of Prince of Persia, or super old 2D?
Either. I've played both. I like both.
Fair enough. What about you, Luke?
No, I wasn't expecting anything much, so they delivered something.
And that's about it, really. You look so concerned.
I'm sorry. You said Two Towers, which it's definitely not, but I can't remember what the actual subtitle.
Why don't you say something?
I think is it Two Thrones?
He's thinking
No.
it trying to prove you wrong before calling out on your
It
bullshit.
is Two Thrones.
Is it Two Thrones?
Yeah, it is. All I remember is him like stood with like a spiky sword.
Yeah. And a whip
As
arm
opposed to a
thing.
blunt sword.
You get out.
On that note,
On that note, we'll end the second of 3 parts, because the third part's going to be way longer
yeah.
than.
Could be 4 at this
justifiable.
rate.
Oh god, no, we won't do that. But
We're just going to keep extending the amount of parts there are.
as
Just like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
shh, I'll tell you all the reasons you're wrong in a
They
minute.
announced that, did they?
Do you know what? I wouldn't put it past you to not have realised.
Oh, how could I
That's-
not realise with you in here?
Oh my lord, here we go. Right, we'll just before we go, Luke is not going to be in the last episode. It's going to be me and Elliot talking Square Enix
Leave
and
it to
Nintendo.
pros.
So just before you go, what's your overall feeling of E3? What did they do well, and what should they have done better?
It's a tough one because they did lots of things, like, pretty well, but everything they did potentially still could have been done better. Like, there's not one thing that was like, yes, that was amazing.
Final Fantasy VII.
I feel like everything was played quite safe, and no one really sort of pushed any sort of limits and bars and things really to try and sort of get above everyone else. Like, everyone's sort of too scared of sort of sticking a neck out and getting their head lopped off.
Yeah, that's fair. Tame year for E3.
It was
Because there's
it
no
was-
Bayonetta 3, so if Nintendo
I
had
was
done
wondering when
Bayonetta
that would
3,
come up.
Yeah.
then that would have stolen the show for me, and it would have been amazing. But no.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair point to go off of.
We
They-
need more gameplay, though, with these.
I would definitely agree. It seems to be that everything that came this E3, and me and Luke Elliot will talk about it more tomorrow. Sorry, more on the next episode. Is that everything that seemed to come is stuff that we all pretty much had an inkling of an idea about. There was no big surprises with with the first 4 companies anyway that we've just spoken about, it was nothing that really stood out so much.
Nothing that was
they were like,
oh damn,
look at this massive reveal. And
Keanu Reeves
for a game that's already been announced.
Yeah.
We knew that information was coming, and it's a cool additive, but there was no pizzazz.
It's
there
not
was
like
no
they said we
showmanship.
can play as Keanu Reeves.
And this is where like you get the feeling you understand now why they say E3 is dying, because you've lost Sony. This should have been the point at which everyone went, okay, Sony's gone, one of our major competitors. Now is our time to shine. Nobody did.
Can't necessarily twist things around that quick though. I mean, game development takes a long time, you know.
Oh yeah, I can appreciate that, but stylize your show a little bit better, or control it more.
Up the ante where you can.
Yeah, push things where it can be pushed, and if that game isn't quite ready, that you really want to announce, then announce it saying that it's really not that ready. I mean, look at Star Wars. That doesn't look like it's finished to me.
I can see a delay on that.
I don't think they get in trouble, wouldn't they, with Disney?
I mean, it'd be better for them to delay it
more than putting out a crap game. Dunno.
Like, I'm fine seeing things that are labelled as alpha or pre-alpha, but I mean, what are we, 4 months away from release?
Either that, or
Something
they're
like
just showing us old footage.
Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
This could be.
But then again, this is the issue with
That's
it.
not
Is
the
that,
thing to be doing, though, is it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think we'll end it on that note.
Yeah.
So,
pick up the pace, Star Wars.
pick up the pace, Star Wars. Bethesda needs to do better. Microsoft, you just didn't excite me like you should have done. And Ubisoft, you're just there.
Too many shooters.
Too many shooters.
I think Ubisoft did fine. It's just not stuff for us.
I mean, they can be stuff. I've played Rainbow Six Siege. I've enjoyed it.
Oh.
There you go. You learn something new every day.
Are you ready to go back to it? You're going to buy these new ones?
You don't buy them, you get them for free.
Are you going to go back and play them?
No.
Exactly. Even for free, you're not going to go back and play
Even
it?
for free, that's because it's not my time of year for that.
Not your
Shooters
time,
are more of a winter game for me.
Oh, we're coming back to
Season of... Once a podcast.
So what do you play in the summer then, Ben? I do wonder.
Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
Oh god, the Winter
my
Olympics.
So hyped.
So hyped. Thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back in part 3.
See you soon.